Zelensky says Israel-Gaza conflict taking focus away from fighting in Ukraine war.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Israel-Gaza war is taking away the focus from the conflict in Ukraine, the country's President Volodymyr Zelensky has admitted. This has prompted fears of war fatigue among Kyiv's Western allies, with suggestions of growing reluctance in some capitals to continue giving Ukraine advanced weapons and funds. Speaking at Saturday's briefing in Kyiv with visiting European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Mr. Zelensky said, "It's clear that the war in the Middle East is taking away the focus from Ukraine." The Ukrainian leader recalled that last year, there had also been a lot of talk about a stalemate on the vast battlefield in Ukraine, but he pointed to Kyiv's subsequent major military victories in the northeastern Kharkiv region and Kherson in the south. All the war goals that were set must be achieved, Dmitry Peskov said, adding that Ukraine must realize that, even talking about any prospects for the Kyiv regime's victory on the battlefield is absurd. The UK Defence Intelligence said in its latest report on Saturday that Russia has likely lost around 200 armoured vehicles during its assaults on the Donbas town of Avdiivka, in eastern Ukraine. Moscow has in recent weeks been trying to advance in eastern and northeastern Ukraine, but Ukraine's military says all the attacks have been rebuffed.
This post received a score of 7,300, with an upvote ratio of 88%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
This is like that meme of that mom and the baby, the girl trying to not drown and the skeleton at the bottom of the pool.
Israel, the child getting attention. Ukraine, the child drowning. Yemen, the skeleton at the bottom of the pool.
Yemen is getting tangled in Israel-Hamas. The skeleton is Sudan.
There are many skeletons.
It's just a boneyard. Armenia, Yazidis, Myanmar, just to name a few.
When's the last time we've heard from Niger?
Oh, car.
I drove mine earlier today.
Western media. Oh, new war.
TWOOO wars. Re in the midst of two wars.
Yeah, no shit, Ukraine is fucked without a spotlight on it constantly. Good luck to them.
Israel can handle itself. Ukraine is the one that does need help.
Only because of the hundreds of billions of US aid Israel has received.
Israel has functioning military-industrial complex and higher GDP than Ukraine. It can obviously take care of it. Egypt also receives military aid, by the way. Also, Hamas doesn't have a large air force, hypersonic missiles, thousands of tanks and armored vehicles, and the ability to fire tens of thousands of shells per day. Hamas is obviously dangerous, but fighting an insurgency is just far less resource-intensive than fighting decades of Soviet stockpiles and a dictator willing to let hundreds of soldiers die every day for years on end.
Sorry dude, the media moved to profiteer off a different conflict.
This made me realize they haven't said shit about that military coup in Africa in a while either.
Nobody cares about Africa. If news is being reported from out of Africa, it means there ain't shit happening elsewhere.
Myanmar too. It's more like Muslims dying, that no one cared about, except for we Jews are the one killing them.
The issue with Myanmar is that there's a media black hole coming from within Myanmar itself. The Myanmar government suppresses a lot of footage and reports from getting out, so it doesn't reach mainstream Western media. That's why all the combat footage we see out of Myanmar is low-quality camcorder footage filmed by random rebel grandmothers shooting a hand-me-down AK into the bushes. It also helps that one of them has the largest nuclear arsenal in the world and directly borders NATO, so the stakes for this conflict seem pretty high in comparison.
He's not wrong, but that's what happens when there are multiple major conflicts at the same time. Resources aren't unlimited and neither is focus. That said, there's no harm in calling your political representatives and telling them how you feel.
Israel is fighting a much smaller conflict and doesn't need nearly as much aid as Ukraine does.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.